Hi, and welcome back. I just purchased this trailer for $500 that I found online. Now, this trailer had just a couple problems. One of the tail lights was busted. The ramp on the right side came unwelded, and we fixed all of that stuff. The guy fixed it before I bought it. He was really nice. He rewired a new tail light package and just bolted the ramp on the back. So this video is going to be about me picking it up. But first, on the way to get my trailer, I had to drop off a load of firewood to somebody. So here's that load. And it was raining and just a nasty day, but she's going to burn it in her fire pit. Here we go, another load of wood successfully delivered to a happy customer. Got a nice backyard, going to burn in the fire pit. That's not the fire pit right there, but they're going to stack it right there. And there is some locust trees around here. It's locust. Looks like locust. And that also looks like locust. Now, we got the wood delivered and it's off on our little adventure to pick up the new $500 trailer. And on the way, I thought this was kind of interesting. You can see up there's a police car and it's following a truck. And they're just moving along pretty much at the speed limit. And everywhere this truck goes, the police car is following it. So I don't know if this is some kind of low-speed pursuit or what going on. But there's a load of logs. Hey, you're going the wrong way. My house is the other way. I just bought this new $500 trailer. It's 8x4 and it's got some tall sides on it. So I haven't measured the sides yet, but I should be able to fit a rick of firewood in here, or a third of a cord, and maybe a little more if I stack it all. It's 8x4 by, this has got to be 2 feet or so. So it's the same size or a little bit bigger than a standard truck bed. So I should be able, if I stacked it in the truck and the trailer, I think I could maybe haul a cord in this thing. But this is it, 500 bucks. The guy just put some newer tires on it. They're actually used, but they're in good condition. And it's got new tail lights. Just gonna have to kind of seal up the back. I got ratchet straps I can use to wrap around, or I can put a board across the back here. I haven't decided. I can either put plywood across there or use ratchet straps to kind of seal that up. But that's the next thing I'm gonna do here, is put some plywood in on the side so I can really pile in some wood. Pretty cool. 500 bucks. And look at this. It's so light, you can turn it into a dump trailer. Anyway, kinda. So we are obviously home now with the trailer, and I am getting right to work on boxing this thing in. I spent all day doing this. It took a lot longer than I thought. I worked from 9 in the morning till 9 p.m. at night. But I got the trailer home. I got a new title for it already on the way. I went to the county clerk or Department of Motor Vehicles or whatever, and I got a title change, and I'm so stoked to get in and out of that place in one trip. And knock on wood, there wasn't any problems. They transferred it right over. It cost like $13. I didn't elect to get a license plate for the trailer because that's more money, and you're not required to have it in the state of Kentucky, but apparently if you travel out of state or whatever, you're supposed to have a plate on it, which seems kind of ridiculous because typically in a lot of things I thought they referred back to the original jurisdiction. Like, since we aren't required to have it in Kentucky where I live and it's registered or titled, I shouldn't have to have it anywhere else. But I guess that's not how it works. That's what she said. So anyways, I got that done and I got it home, and we're working on boxing it in now. And This is the board that I left outside. I was using it to block my glass door when I was splitting wood on my back porch earlier this year. And unfortunately, I left it outside for a few weeks, and you can see how discolored it got. So I'm just trying to sand it a little bit here, just to kind of restore the color a little bit, and then I'm hopefully going to seal it or stain it or paint it. I have some stuff on the way to get that done. So that'll be in a separate video. Today we're going to pretty much just build it and get as far as we can, and then it'll be to be continued on the rest. I did get a little bit of the color back out of this wood. I mean, there was kind of some black dots on it and stuff from sitting out in the weather. And I got all that stuff sanded off. But you'll see it's still kind of an olive color even when I'm done. And I didn't have really coarse sandpaper. I wanted like 80 grit to go over this thing, and I think this is like 220 or something. And that's just the best I have. And this comes into play several times on this trailer, but this is a low-budget firewood trailer, and I'm not trying to spend $300 on new wood and sandpaper and sealer and nuts and bolts and paint, and you know, I'm repurposing lumber that I've had around in my house for over 10 years, and it worked out perfectly. I mean, I had the exact amount of bolts that I needed, almost down to the, I think I have one extra bolt or something, maybe. I don't even, it came out perfect. And, well, I did have to buy like 2 extra bolts that are going to be longer to get through. You'll see in a minute there's a 3-inch section I needed some longer bolts for. But that's it, that's like $2. So I'm doing this as low budget as I can, reusing all of the wood around my house here. And it comes together really nice. It just takes a little bit of time to get it all done here, and we should have a firewood trailer. Okay, I got all the sidewall boards cut. This is Repurposed Lumber. That had sat outside and got a little bit grayed or discolored from being in the sun. That's the same piece of wood that I was using to cover my window earlier when I was splitting wood. But I actually sanded it and it's better than it was before. I don't really care. I haven't figured out exactly how I'm gonna treat this wood yet, whether I'm just gonna paint it all black or put oil on it or what, but I think I'm gonna seal it. So if I paint it, I'll just paint over that. But I'm putting the boards on flat, and there's these 2 clamps that are on the rails. I guess they were using it as a tie down or something, but I'm taking that off. I wouldn't even feel good about tying something down to that. I would strap to the frame or the trailer before I put weight on these clamps. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm using this big wrench to try to twist these off and free them up. They're pretty rusted in there. There's another one over there. But this one is blocking the board from sitting straight. And it's gonna have to be removed eventually, so I'm gonna go ahead and deal with it now. While I'm loosening this bolt, I just wanted to mention, if you enjoy this video, please give the channel a subscribe and like the video. I would appreciate it. That wrench is a bad mammer jammer, by the way. It's a big daddy. It was a couple $100, $200 or $300 for that thing, but it is a big time convincer. It'll move some stuff. Here we go. 1. Oh gosh. Oops, I'm tightening. Holy crap. God, hello. It just keeps getting tighter. More tight. Alright, now I got everything together, I got all the sides smoothed out, and I'm just going to kind of take the bull by the horns here and test fit all these pieces of board together. I cut them outside, out back of my house. I knew it was a 2-foot high thing, and it's an 8-foot long trailer. So if you know anything about plywood, it comes in 4-foot wide by like 8 or 10-foot sections. So I just took the 4-foot. I had two 4-foot by 4-foot squares that I had cut earlier. I just cut them in half and brought them upstairs, and they fit almost perfect. Now, almost is the key, because this trailer is not exactly square, and the wood isn't exactly laser beam perfect, because I have used this wood for projects over the years. I cut it with a jigsaw, and I didn't have a table saw that you can get perfect laser beam straight cuts on it. So between the trailer not being perfect and my cuts being a tiny bit off, it's really hard to get this thing completely seamless. Now, I mean, you could probably do a little bit better of a job than I did if you were some type of professional carpenter. I am not, and again, I'm just using what I had around, and these boards had some uneven cuts on them from using a jigsaw for projects and things over the years, so everything's not perfect, but I'm doing my best to get this thing sealed up as good as I can and make it look pretty decent here. There's a bolt down there, that's why. So when I say the trailer isn't perfect, it's just a little bit off in some spaces. Like when I got done putting all the boards in and everything, I measured it, and the front of the trailer is 4 feet and like 3/4 of an inch, and the back of the trailer is 2 feet 11 inches and 3/4. So there's like a 1/2 inch difference. Those rails that run along the sides have probably been bent a little bit over the years, and you could put some type of hydraulic spreader in there probably and push them back apart in the back. But there is basically like a 1/2 inch difference in between the front of the trailer and the back of the trailer on the top of those rails. I think it was, whatever I said, it was 4 feet and 1/4 inch in the front, and 3 foot 11 inches and 3/4 in the back. So it's just all of those little tiny little twists and bends in it make it hard to get this wood to fit together perfectly seamless, you know, where it joins up and everything. But it looks pretty darn good, and it's going to hold wood in it is the main thing for me. Also, the floor in the trailer is kind of, if you get in it and walk around and stomp around in it, it kind of bends and pops, and there's a place on one of the sides where it kind of broke off of the welds, and it kind of bows up. So like if you were to step on it, it'll bend down and flatten down, but then when you take your foot off of it, it raises back up and pops up off the floor. And that's what the boards are sitting on. So the floor's kind of wavy a little bit, and the rails aren't perfect. So it's pretty challenging to get everything completely perfect, and I just kind of threw in the towel on that and did the best I could. And I didn't even measure where I put the bolts in. I shot the bolts in on the corner of the boards and just eyeballed it. And there was one bolt that, where the tires are, you can see there behind the tires, bolts have to go behind those tires. Well, I didn't want to get in there behind the tires and mess with it, so I just kind of put them in front or behind where those tires and the fender wells are. And I got stuck in one little tight area with a bolt, and I was able to get it tightened down, but it took forever. But on the other side, I decided not to put a bolt in the same little tight spot, so I moved it back 6 inches or something. So anyways, if you're looking at it, like all the bolts aren't like perfectly symmetrical and stuff, but this is just my little it's $500. It's a Firewood trailer. I got everything in there solid and secure. It's not going to blow away in the wind or anything, so I'm fine with that. I got it all looking good. I'll be happy as can be when this thing starts hauling wood for me. It'll get the job done. So now I'm just trying to figure out how to get these corners to come together. You can see this board needs to be trimmed a little bit so the ramp can close. It's just not perfect. It's a 8x4 trailer, but I'm gonna have to make some little trims or take a notch out of that corner or something to get it all to work. As well as in the front, up there in the front corner, there's gonna be, I'm gonna have to trim one of those corner boards a little bit to get that to fit in there. Okay, I got it pretty good. I had to cut some notches back here so the gates could close. I'm sorry, so these gates can close. Simple. It's not gonna be perfect. It's just laying in here loose. It's not bolted in yet, but that middle might not fit together perfect. The floor is a little uneven, and then like back here, this top rail is offset 3/4 inch from this bottom rail. So to do that, I just had to put a piece of wood up here, and then that makes this flush so the corners line up. Or this piece of wood here would have been slanted back from the bottom back. And it was just a matter of, I really originally wanted this is the front board here. I wanted this board to extend all the way to the length of here, and then have these sliding up against it and lock it in with this going out. But this trailer is 4 feet 1.5 inches wide. So in order to get this board to go 4 feet 1.5 inches and lock in corner to corner, I'd have to buy a whole new sheet of 3/4 inch or half, I think it is 1/2 inch plywood, and cut it lengthwise out of the 8-foot section, because they come in 8x4 sections of plywood. So that's why I'm using all these. These are perfect 4-foot sections, and it's scrap lumber that I had around. And I'm trying to do this cheaply and just get my firewood thing, go use something for firewood. I don't want to go buy $150 worth of plywood to finish this when I have, I mean, it's that perfect without having to buy anything. So I opted to just go ahead and use a 4-foot section, and then these 1/2 inch, they're 0.57 inches thick is what it says on the label, 0.57, so just over 1/2 inch. And it locks in pretty good. I mean, this corner right here is money. And there's gonna be a little tiny gap over here, because I've used these boards for just scrap pieces and stuff over the years, so they have some cuts on them and stuff that aren't laser beam perfect. But that's good enough for me for hauling firewood. So I'm gonna get this thing bolted together and it'll be pretty much done. I just gotta consider whether I'm gonna put anything against the back here to lock in the back more, or use ratchet straps. And I may have to buy one more piece of plywood for the floor. The floor is in pretty decent shape. It's metal, but it is getting some age on it, and it's kind of, I mean, I can't walk on it right now because it'll stand up on the end if I step in from the back. So it is kind of warped, and if you step around on it, it kind of moves around a little bit. Some of the welds over here on this side, well, you can't see them anymore, but it has separated from some of the welds along this side over here. So, I mean, you can't really see it. You can hear it. So it's kind of moving around a little bit from the frame. Let's see, if you look up underneath this thing, I mean, you can see it's kind of rusted a little bit. And let's see, if you look at that frame, there's a gap there, and the floor kind of just bounces up and down on that. But it's still solid right now. It's just got some normal rust on it from sitting outside. And I don't know what this camera's focusing on. I mean, it's 500 bucks, so, but I'm thinking about putting some plywood on the floor. If I spend just a little bit more money and put a piece of plywood on this floor, it might help to prolong the life of the floor. And then, you know, if I drop a big piece of wood, a big heavy round in here, it won't dent it up as bad. It'll kind of absorb the pressure. So I may have to do that and just be gentle with it until I get that installed, but I'm thinking about doing that. That is pretty much going to conclude this first episode. I did all this on the first day I got the trailer, and I got the title transfer initiated. I got all the carriage bolts in here, the boards secured. I just need to stain or seal this wood and added a few bolts to this front board here. I just secured that with some screws and some wood for the time being, just to mock it up and get it solid. But that's not a permanent solution. I'm going to put some 3-inch bolts in there. I just didn't have them yet. So those are all on the way. And I will do a continuation of this in the future, and you'll probably see the rest of this little restoration project. Restoration. Whatever. Have a good day.